Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Cycle on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Mukhtar Kasim. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTimes channel 276 and also on Free TV. We begin from the nation's capital where, as part of efforts to improve the welfare of working environment of the judiciary, President Bola Tinubu has flagged off the construction of residences for judicial officers in the Federal Capital Territory. Kabir Hassan reports.
The President, represented by Lateef Fagbemi, Attorney General of the Federation at the flag-up, said the project covers the Judges' Quarters for Court of Appeal as well as residence for National Industrial Court and Code of Conduct Tribunal.
Today's event is much more than the unveiling of a physical infrastructure. It is a tangible demonstration of federal government's enduring commitment to welfare, independence, efficiency, and dignity of the judiciary. I assure you on the federal government's unwavering commitment to strengthening democratic institutions and advancing the administration of justice continue to inspire confidence in our nation's governance and territory.
Speaking at the event, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, said the project reflects ongoing effort to provide a conducive environment for judicial officers and strengthen the justice system.
Today, we are here to commission and hand over the residents of the Justice of Court of Appeal. While we hand over what they do is part of our responsibility. Luckily, we are giving them their CFO, so we are giving them their CFO. With the foundation of these projects, the one of the Court of Appeal, the one of the Federal High Court, and the one of the National High Court. Let me just say that sometimes our public officers were always afraid of what people will say. When we came on board, and Mr. President had given us this directive, not only to provide the context for the Abuja Judicial Court of Appeal, they also say about the residents. So we left office. I was looking at now I get land for this project. Now I see roads here. No way at all. So this land belongs to Julius Berger.
Wike also noted that the importance of collaboration between federal and state government in supporting critical infrastructure within the justice sector. The project is expected to enhance welfare and improve operational efficiency and judicial officers in the country. Kabir Hassan, Global TV News.
The National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu and the President of the Senate Godswill Akpabio have called for the deployment of modern technology and stronger regional cooperation for strengthening Nigeria's broader security architecture and addressing the growing security threats across the country. They made the call at the opening of the 15th National Security Seminar organized by the Alumni Association of the Nigerian Defense College in Abuja. The National Security Advisor, represented by the Director of Policy and Strategy, Yazid Bemudu, noted that Nigeria's territorial integrity and national stability were closely tied to the effectiveness of its border security framework. Senator Akpabio, who was represented by the Chairman of the Senate Committee on Defense, Ahmed Lawan, said Nigeria's extensive land and maritime boundaries pose significant security challenges to the country. The Nigerian Senate has suspended its ongoing legislative recess and summoned lawmakers for an emergency plenary to address pressing national issues, particularly the rising insecurity across the country. In a notice signed by the clerk of the Senate, Emmanuel Odo, senators were directed to reconvene at the National Assembly complex in Abuja. The notice issued on the directive of the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, said that emergency sitting was necessitated by matters of urgent national importance requiring immediate legislative attention. Meanwhile, the minority caucus in the House of Representatives has called on President Bola Tinubu to suspend all activities related to the 2027 elections and instead announced a 6-month national security and economic recovery plan to address the country's growing challenges. Minority Leader of the House, Fred Agbedi, said Nigeria is facing worsening insecurity, economic challenges, and other security challenges, kidnapping and killings across the country, accusing the administration of prioritizing political calculations ahead of citizens' welfare and safety. The caucus also cited the death of retired Major General Rabi Abubakar in captivity and the continued abduction of school children in Oyo State as evidence of what it described as a failing security architecture requiring urgent intervention. Now, concerns are mounting over the continued detention of former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai as northern stakeholders and youth groups call for strict adherence to due process and transparency in handling the matter. Samuel Odi has details.
At the press briefing in Abuja, the coalition of Arewa youth and northern stakeholders urged the federal government and security agencies to thoroughly investigate allegations raised by political commentator Timmy Frank, who claimed there were questionable circumstances surrounding the detention, including alleged surveillance and possible manipulation of records. The coalition stressed that while no one is above the law, all allegations in public space must be independently verified to protect public trust and strengthen democratic institutions. The convener of the group, Ibrahim Sanusi, warned that the growing controversy could deepen political tension if not properly managed, and called for calm while the rule of law takes its course.
We only demand that he should be treated like every other citizens, with fairness, with respect for the law, and with the presumption of his innocence, as the Constitution of Nigeria guaranteed.
He says the group will continue to monitor developments and push for justice, transparency, and respect for democratic principles. Sanusi called on all political parties to avoid inflammatory statements, urging security agencies to act within the constitutional limits as the matters unfold.
We make the following demand to the federal government, which is led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and the Kaduna State government, which is led by His Excellency Senator Malam Obasani. Immediate and transparent investigation. The federal government must immediately investigate the serious allegation made by Timmy Frank regarding a plot to poison Malam Nasir El-Rufai. This investigation must be independent, thorough, and its findings must be made public.
The coalition reaffirmed its commitment to due process, insisting that only a transparent and lawful investigation can dispel public suspicion and safeguard democratic stability. Samuel Lodi, Global TV News.
The Nigerian Democratic Congress (NDC) has reaffirmed the principle of party supremacy, insisting that candidates elected on a platform of the party cannot defect to another political party and retain the mandate secured under the NDC. Political correspondent Ubong Usoro has more.
Thank you. Speaking on the party's position, the national chairman of the NDC, Senator Morgan Cleopas, stated that every political party must operate within the established rules and regulations, stressing that candidates are merely agents of the political party. According to him, votes cast during elections belong to the political party and not to individual candidates. He noted that all aspirants seeking elective offices on the platform of the NDC are required to sign an undertaking and voluntarily swear to an affidavit affirming their commitment to the party.
People elected on the platform of this our party must respect the party instruments. This is not just a party for one man to ride and achieve his ambition and do anything he likes with the party. No.
The National Legal Advisor of the party, Barrister Reuben Ekwoakwa, explained that the requirement applies to all candidates irrespective of the office being contested, whether president, governor, or any other elective position. He cited Article 15(06) of the NDC Constitution as the legal basis for the policy, adding that the National Working Committee has resolved that any aspirant who fails to submit the required affidavit alongside nomination forms will not have his or her name uploaded to the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) portal.
Was carpet to APC, or you can even say that, okay, I don't even want to be a member of any political party in Nigeria. But the Constitution, that section 68(1)(g) said, yes, you have the right to go. But that mandate of the people, that vote of the people, under which you are standing to collect salary, please drop it for them. You must drop the seat.
The National Legal Advisor disclosed that several governorship candidates, including those of Gombe, Kaduna, or Borno State, have already complied with the directive by signing the required documents. He maintained that the measure is aimed at strengthening parties' discipline, loyalty, and internal democracy within the NDC. Ubong Usoro, Global TV News.
Let's now head to Benue State, where the Renewed Hope initiative of First Lady Senator Oluremi Tinubu has recorded another major milestone with the delivery of critical infrastructure projects in the state aimed at driving development, improving connectivity, and improving the welfare of young people through technology. Felicity Ndere reports.
Excitement and celebration marked the arrival of Nigeria's First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, as she commissioned key development projects under the Renewed Hope initiative in Benue State.
Senator Oluremi Tinubu, CON.
In a significant boost to the state's socio-economic growth, the First Lady commissioned 10 newly completed roads in Makurdi and inaugurated the Modern City ICT Center in a Hill, Vanikeleku government area. Speaking at the event, the First Lady said the project reflects the commitment of the Renewed Hope agenda to improving the lives of Nigerians through impactful infrastructure and community development initiatives.
As we commission these roads today, I encourage the good people of Benue State to continue supporting the efforts of the governor and to take ownership of these public assets.
In a Hill, Vanikeleku government area of Benue State, the First Lady commissioned and handed over a community ICT center facilitated by the National Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA, and named after Mama Lucy Aluo. The facility is expected to serve as a digital hub for skills acquisition, innovation, and entrepreneurship, equipping young people with the tools required to thrive in today's technology-driven economy.
In the spirit of today's event, the Renewed Hope initiative under the RHI Economic Empowerment Scope will present a 50 million naira grant to the state governor, and in addition, another 50 million, which is into a total of 100 million, will be empowering 2,000 women with petty trading businesses.
Benue State Governor Hyacinth Alia described the projects as a major step towards transforming the state's infrastructure landscape and stimulating economic growth.
And to that end, Benue State Government under our watch commits to providing startup operational funding and links the center to the state ICT initiatives to ensure reliable power, internet connectivity, and qualified trainers.
The Totiv, His Royal Majesty Professor James Ayate, called for continued investments that promote peace, unity, and economic prosperity.
We will be grateful if these projects I have mentioned that are very dear to us is added to the list of the goodness of this administration to Benue State.
For residents, the ICT Center represents a new chapter of opportunities, innovation, and digital transformation. From a Hill, Vanikeleku government area of Benue State, Felicity Ndere, reporting for Global Television News.
You are watching the live broadcast of News Cycle. News Cycle continues after this weather forecast, plus business, foreign, and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us.
Hello, welcome to the weather forecast. Before we look ahead, let's take a quick review of the past 24 hours. This satellite imagery shows overnight systems that lingered into the early hours of Wednesday morning, gradually and slowly advancing westwards, triggering thunderstorm activities in some parts of the country, including the Federal Capital Territory, where commuters experienced wet conditions during the morning hours. Now, what do we expect for Thursday? During the morning hours, the chances of thunderstorms in parts of Taraba, Benue, parts of the southeastern states, Rivers, Edo, Lagos, Ogun, and Ondo states. Going into the afternoon and evening hours, our weather models indicate good chances and favorable conditions for stronger thunderstorm developments to the southern region of the country, parts of Niger, the Federal Capital Territory, Plateau, as well as some northern states. Now, if you're heading out on Thursday, keep your umbrellas within reach and stay updated to our latest weather information. I am Theodora Itum. Thank you for watching.
You're welcome back from that break, and now to business, where the federal government has dismissed reports suggesting it plans to introduce new taxes on telecommunication services and petroleum products following recommendations contained in the IMF Article 4 consultation report on Nigeria. The Ministry of Finance clarified that VAT waivers on petroleum products remained in place, while the telecommunications excess duty introduced before 2023 has been repealed under the country's new tax laws. Government officials said the claims of impending taxes on fuel and telecom services are inaccurate and do not reflect the administration's current fiscal policy direction. Meanwhile, the federal government has called for robust global cooperation and strategic deployment of innovative financing mechanisms to bridge the massive development funding gaps clogging emergency economies, particularly in Nigeria. The Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, stated this while speaking virtually at the Green Guarantee Group High-Level Stakeholders Roundtable on mainstreaming financial guarantees in Nigeria. Alake noted that the strategic collaboration among government, development financial institutions, and private investors are critical to unlocking massive investment required for green industrialization, small business expansion, and sustainable economic growth. The Nigerian Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress says they will start negotiations with the federal government over a new national minimum wage, warning that workers can no longer cope with the rising living cost as inflation continues to erode real incomes. The unions are pushing for what they described as a genuine living wage to replace the current framework, which they said no longer reflects Nigeria's economic realities, particularly sharp increases in food, transport, housing, and healthcare costs. The position was contained in a joint address delivered at the 114th International Labour Conference in Geneva, where the union also rejected any proposal to tax the minimum wage or impose additional fiscal burdens on low-income earners. And now to the foreign scene, where the government of Equatorial Guinea has resigned after failing to meet key performance targets, according to Vice President Teodoro Mangwai. Mangwai said the cabinet achieved barely 10% of its objectives despite having access to substantial state resources, describing the outcome as far below expectations and commitments made to citizens. The resignation comes as the oil-dependent nation continues to grapple with economic showdown, declining petroleum products, and broader development challenges. G7 leaders are meeting with Arab leaders in Evian for a working session on security in the Middle East. The G7 comes shortly after a peace agreement was reached between the United States, and Iran, which United States President Donald Trump says would see the Strait of Hormuz completely open once again once the deal is signed. Uyag Mufwegbe reports.
Officials say negotiations over a final deal will take place within a 60-day window after the Memorandum of Understanding to end nearly 4 months of war triggered by U.S.-Israeli strikes on Iran is physically signed. Iran's Deputy Foreign Minister Majid Takht Ravanchi has also noted that the Islamic Republic's top negotiator Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf will attend the signing in Switzerland, which Bern said will take place at the luxury Buchenstock resorts overlooking Lake Lesson. The U.S. side will be represented by Vice President J.D. Vance, who said Trump might also attend. The developments came after Trump said an Iranian blockade on the crucial Hormuz Strait oil and gas routes would be fully lifted by Friday, which would be a major boost to the global economy. Optimism over the reopening of Hormuz has sent the price of the international benchmark Brent North Sea crude tumbling below $80 a barrel, which is a 3-month low. The U.S. had, in retaliation, imposed its own blockade on Iranian ports. Iranian state television said Iranian oil tankers and other vessels had resumed shipping following the deal, with Takht Ravanchi saying the United States blockade has been lifted prior to the formal signing. Sporadic episodes of violence since an April ceasefire had threatened a deal, but weeks of indirect negotiations mediated by Pakistan and Qatar built momentum for an interim agreement. Asked at the G7 in France when the text would be released, President Trump said, quote, "It is a very powerful document and I want it to be released, so probably pretty soon," unquote. Uyi Agmofwegbe, Global TV News.
Meantime, United States President Donald Trump has cautioned that the proposed peace agreement between the United States and Iran is not yet final, despite plans for a formal signing ceremony in Switzerland on Friday. Trump warned that Washington could resume military action if Tehran fails to comply with the terms of the agreement, while the White House said reports detailing the content of the deal does not accurately reflect the document. The comments come during the G7 summit in France as world leaders call for a robust and lasting framework to sustain peace and stability in the Middle East. Over now to sport, where Nigeria's Golden Eaglets have open camp in the 2026 West Africa Football Union B Under-17 Boys Championship. The regional tournament will serve as the qualifier for the 2027 Africa Under-17 Cup of Nations. The Golden Eaglets are training at the Golden Pitch in Abuja. Nigeria has failed to qualify for the last 2 editions of the competition. Still talking sport, England will today begin their FIFA World Cup campaign against Croatia as they seek to end a 60-year wait for a major international trophy. Captain Harry Kane has urged his teammates to play with freedom and confidence, while Cristiano Ronaldo is set to feature in a record-equaling 6th World Cup appearance against DR Congo. The opening round of fixtures will also see Ghana face Panama and tournament debutant Uzbekistan take on Colombia as the competition gathers momentum. And finally, Portugal midfielder Bernardo Silva has completed a 2-year move to Real Madrid after leaving Manchester City at the expiration of his contract. The 31-year-old joined the Spanish giants after winning 20 major trophies during a successful 9-year spell at Manchester City, including 6 Premier League titles and the UEFA Champions League. His arrival forms part of a major rebuilding effort at Real Madrid following 2 trophyless seasons and the recent appointment of Jose Mourinho as head coach. That's it on News Cycle. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTimes channel 276. You can also watch us on Free TV. Kindly follow us across all our social media platforms now showing on the screen using at Global TV NG. I am Mukhtar Kasim, saying a very big thank you for watching.